for coming to, one, counteract the ill effects of the atmosphere, and two, to do what we are supposed to be doing all the time, doing that which will enhance our spiritual practice. So you may have heard that we're going to do some gita class. Fine. We'll attempt to do the first 9 verses of the 6th chapter of Bhagwat Gita, but before that, the most important thing we always try to focus on, and that is chanting our japa, right? So all our study and everything we do should be enhancing one thing, our chanting. Let's all do Mangala Charana together and then we'll begin. Om Jnana Tirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Could somebody volunteer to answer, according to our teachings, what is our identity? What we are, who we are.
Soul, part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, eternal servant. Hare Krishna.
Is that different? You have something different?
Krishna Das. No, it's understanding our relationship with Bhagavan and Krishna. What was the question again?
What is our identity?
Our identity, Jiva.
Krishna. Eternal spirit soul, parts of Krishna.
Okay. We'll take everybody may be correct, we'll take the scriptural one, right?
Yeah.
Our philosophies are such that there are classic questions and answers in the scriptures. Sanatana Goswami asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "Who am I?" Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Jivira Swarupai Krishnira Nitya Das, that the spirit soul is eternal servant of Krishna. So yes, we are eternal spirit soul, but that is not complete. Yes, we are eternal spirit soul, but the soul not just floated, it has a swarup, a constitutional position, right? You cannot establish your identity without your source, without, identifying your swarup or your constitutional position. So yes, we are spirit soul, but the spirit soul is eternal servant of Krishna. Okay, so that's the first point we want to establish. Right, fine. That is what it is. What we supposed to be, what constitution. What's going on now? What's the situation now?
You mean what the soul is doing now?
Yeah, what is the situation of the soul now? It's covered over by the material energy, and based on the covering, based on what we think we are, when we covered, we have different identifications, right? People identify themselves as different things, and based on what they identify as, they do accordingly, right? So we're trying to just give a little framework to our study, what we're looking to do, what we're going to do. So presently the spirit soul covered over has this misconception of itself. What we call it? False ego, false identity, right? False identity means that souls think I am body, I am man, woman, Trinidadian, dog, cat, different identities. Now, it is really dangerous, even as a devotee, if we don't come to terms with at least theoretically understanding, look, for many lifetimes I've been identifying with this misconception I am something other than servant of Krishna. And we're going to deal quite a bit with the mind. The mind goes along with this false ego. Whatever we think we are, the mind is always backing up that false ego. If I think I am something, the mind always supports that, reinforces that false ego. If somebody do you anything, that mind will side up with that false ego. You will allow him to do you that. You have to. And if somebody glorify you and inflates your false ego, the mind says, that is your friend. He's the only one who really knows who you really are. Right? So there's this tendency of us just going down in our life, even as devotees, reinforcing that false identity. And when we come to this point of knowing that we are Nitya Krishna Das, eternal servant, that's where the real challenge is for us now. That is where now we're trying to cultivate knowledge, and we're trying to cultivate a practice, a sadhana, a daily discipline, whereby our thoughts, our words, and our activities will not reinforce that false identity, because that is just the cause of disaster, chaos, the waste a human form of life, reinforcing that false ego, rather than our thoughts, words, and deeds are directed towards Krishna and going down, getting closer to Krishna. That is very dangerous. Yeah.
I have a question. How is it? On that point you're talking about that, if someone were to insult us, right? That feeling that we feel, right? We get a lot of feelings if somebody insults us. We get feelings also if somebody glorifies us, right? So when somebody insults us, a flood of feelings come into play. We feel anger, we feel hurt, we feel pain, we feel a lot of things happening there. And then when someone glorifies us, we feel happy, right? So what controls or determines the feelings that we get when these things happen to us?
That is what we're referring to. We're existing on a platform, a false platform, away from our real identity. Our real identity on the light is servant of Krishna. And in that light, even though we're in the material world, if we are really in the enlightened state, we won't be affected by that. We will be able to, like how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say, in a humble state of mind, tolerant, humble like straw in the street, tolerant like the tree, ready to offer all respect. The mind will be in such a state where no offense won't be taken then, because we not the pure soul not really existing in that covered state. He's in light, and in that state, remember, nothing could happen to our soul. Remember, our soul in an enlightened state don't get trampled. He don't identify with false ego. So there's nothing false. Remember, we're always trying to project an image that we are better than what we are. A soul in the material world came here wanting to be what we are not. We want to be God here. So we're always trying to project an image that we are better than what we actually are. And people even like a phone wants to take out their selfie better than they are. They always like phone. So the thing is that. So anyway, that is just basically about our feeling. Now, so many religious practices, but we just kind of going to zero down to we have many different practices in Krishna consciousness, but the japa is something that, great souls do it a lot in the 24 hours a day. They do plenty of it. We kind of follow. In Bhagwat Gita 12 chapter, Krishna says, just always absorb your mind in me. But then he says, if you can't do that, then follow the rules and regulations of Bhakti Yoga. That's kind of like what we are attempting to do. Chant prescribed number of rounds and do this and do that. And he says, if you can't do that, then just try to, try to make it open for everybody to connect. But back to this point about following the rules and regulations. There is a way that we are expected to do, but because we don't do a 5-minute prayer, God, please give me this thing, I really want this. We don't really. If you're going to pray over a period of a couple hours, finish 16 rounds, we don't really have that kind of focus. And so there's a certain amount of focus that is required for the japa to be most effective. And what we're trying to get at is that every day a devotee, we should never just get into just pull a bead bag in the morning and just do as we did in the past. We should have a state of mind and state of consciousness that I want to do it. We should have something in our mind as to what we want it to be like. And we are endeavoring daily to try to get it better. That attitude itself is, as the Acharyas say, Kabe habe bolo se dinamar. Tell me, when will that day come when Amar aparada guchi, when my offenses will cease and Shuddha nama ruchi, and a taste for the pure holy name will come? When? When, oh when will that day come? We have to, it won't just fall on us one day. We just casually chanting, and one day just, no, it comes by when we're making that effort. Now, one more thing about effort. Remember, there are 3 levels of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, right? Everybody remember the 3 levels? 1.
Clearance stage.
Very good. The transition from this offensive stage, that's the default mode where we just generally be in. All inattentive chanting is offensive chanting. The transition from that offensive stage to the clearing stage, or namabhas, is that conscious effort, that conscious, like you're consciously calling Krishna, you're consciously saying Hare Krishna, you're consciously calling that. That's making the difference, or the transition from the offensive stage to the clearing stage. The clearing stage is, the analogy given in Chaitanya Charitamrita is, in the morning, even before the sun is visible in the horizon, the place already start getting bright, right? That is referred to the namabhas. The sun is not visible as yet, but the place already start getting bright. So that stage of the holy name could destroy sin and so on. And by the way, that is what Jamil chanted. He didn't chant Shuddhanam. He chanted that namabhas, but that was, good enough to play, right? So what we're getting at is that some of the devotees here have a book called Japa. How many of you here have the book?
Japa Reform?
No. A book called by Bhagwat Prabhu called Japa. This group kind of monopolized, they buy out all that Amazon had. So, but anyway, the idea is that it helps a lot, It has a lot of quotations from Bhagavatam and so on about the mind, the tendencies of the mind. So when you go to chant, you kind of know what you're dealing with, right? Anyway, we're not going to get into much of that. We're going to just read 3 quotes from Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, and Srila Bhaktivinoda on Japa, and then we're going to move on to something from Bhagavad Gita.
Rajarshree Prabhu, something before you say that, right? You read. When Ajamil was chanting Narayana, right? You said that is the Namabhas stage he was in. But his focus, his consciousness was not on the Lord. So how can you shed some light on that? How it is he get that benefit when his consciousness, his focus really wasn't on Narayan? Was it because of the purification of the name?
It said that he remembered, he was calling his son, Narayan, but in the course it said that was his intention, calling his son.
The driver PDA,
okay, whatever it is, to make it short, Namabhas is the name of the Lord, but not the Shuddha Nam. So that has the power to destroy sin. That has the power to destroy sin. Ajamil didn't go back to Godhead at that point. He just became freed from sin. He became conscious of his situation, and he went to a temple in Haridwar where he perfected his devotion. He got a second chance. got a chance. So, so he perfected the devotion, but the idea is that we don't minimize Namabas. It is a level that is very powerful, and yeah. So back to the focus that is required for chanting. A devotee to Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is very difficult to control the mind when I chant. It wanders. Prabhupada. So what is the controlling of mind? You have to chant and hear, that's all. You have to chant with your tongue, and the sound you hear, that's all. What is the question of mind? Mahatma Prabhu say, to chant good japa, you gotta be out of your mind. If you just absorb my mind going here, my mind, me and my mind, just chant and hear. Of course, you will catch the mind. Krishna say that, yato nischalati manas chanchalam. Due to his flickering and unsteady nature, it will go. But Krishna say, from wherever you catch it wandering, just, but how you do it? Just Hare Krishna. You ain't going to tie a rope or, sometimes you might lego something behind it. You might say, something about it. But just Hare, just get it back on track. And so that is Prabhupada's point here. And for me, that simple thing, along with calling Krishna rather than just, calling, Hare Radha, Hare Krishna, like I'm really calling you, that helps a lot. This one is from Bhaktisiddhanta. If we chant the holy name loudly, then the temptation of laziness will not be able to swallow us up. Now, sometimes, someone just like kind of, something, like easy chanting, and the tendency will be you may, and posture, there are other japa things that speak about, like posture, like if I, like that, and there's a good chance that I won't get it right. It's like, so they say like repeatedly Prabhupada, sit properly, meaning that, and there's so much to elaborate on that, being in a position that is conducive, that, is conducive. So Bhaktisiddhanta say, remain in this place and chant the holy name in a regular fashion. Read the Chaitanya Bhagwat and Chaitanya Charitamrita. Mahaprabhu is particularly merciful to those who are humble in mind and who consider themselves incapable. As we're going to do some reading of Bhagwat Gita, I'll just tell you my personal experience. For many years as a devotee, a lot of anxiety in the mind as an individual person, when you'll be able to read out that Gita. It's 4 years now you can't get out of the first canto Bhagavatam. And it's like you're in a sort of feeling like guilt, inability, this and that. For myself now, if I am just able to start reading the Gita, if I am just able to keep up daily in reading, of course I pray. It's not like every time you could relish or things will flow and you'll feel good. But at least we have to learn to read Prabhupada's book and be contented, be happy reading. Prabhupada said, these are my personal ecstasies. He feels great ecstasy in putting it out. And one day we'll develop better taste. But even if we don't have it, and we wish that we could always have discussion in the company of devotees, we should make effort and provision so that we could come together and help ourselves, you know. So the idea is that we could help each other to appreciate, you know, these books, because we may not have the impetus as individuals to do much of it on our own, which we should. Some of you boys have the app from Vaisheshika, A Sage Page by Page. You all, Prahlad, I'm surprised you're looking like you all don't have it.
No.
It's a beautiful thing where you program, if every day you read 8 pages of the Bhagwat Gita, you'll finish in this. Anyway, I'll get, you know, it couldn't stay on my phone because of the problem with my phone, but I'll get maybe, some of you could contact Omkar and tell them forward it to you. I forwarded it to him, right? So, okay. It's something that has the program with any book. Bhagwat Gita you could finish in so much time, a steadiness in daily programming, how you could read. And
what's the name of the app?
Something like A Sage Page by Page.
Okay.
Or whatever.
That's Omkar.
Omkar has it. Okay, Bhakti Siddhanta. Do not be preoccupied with the end result of chanting. Rather, chant Krishna's name constantly with patience and tolerance, forbearance. The Lord will certainly not sit silently and do nothing. Gora Hari will certainly reward every practitioner according to the nature of his practice. But similar to this point about forget you chanted bad rounds, oh, so much rounds I have again. Rajarshree Prabhu in that book, forget what you did in the past and forget anything about the future. Any name, every name that you are chanting, there is complete perfection in that name. Any one of those names. So if you just absorb yourself in the name that you're chanting now, don't get into that anxiety, so much wrong, this one taking so long. Don't carry that type of load, that type of burden in the mind. Just know that every name is Krishna, and if I consciously call Krishna, I am accumulating millions of US dollars. I am becoming very rich. I am doing the greatest thing I could possibly do. That holy name alone is everything. I am achieving the greatest benefit by every name I call. We should have that much conviction. Okay, this is the one, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's. The devotee should make it a regular practice to spend time alone in a quiet place and concentrate deeply on the holy name. He should utter and hear the name distinctly. It is impossible for the jiva to single-handedly avoid and overcome the illusion of distraction. By the mercy of the Lord, however, this is accomplished with ease. Therefore, it is essential to prayerfully beg for the Lord's grace with great humility, for this is the only means to salvation from this offense. Those who attempt to take up devotional service on the merits of their individual intelligence and mental expertise will find that all their endeavors are fruitless. Lord Krishna's mercy is the prime cause of all successful work. One who does not aspire to obtain the Lord's mercy is indeed a very unfortunate soul. So remember when we were doing that seminar on the Shikshastika, first verse described the greatness, the power, the glory. Second verse, it is so powerful, it is so great. But the second verse acknowledges, Dur Daivam, but I am so unfortunate, I have no attraction. The holy name alone can render all benediction. It has all power. It could give all knowledge, all bliss, destroy all. It could do everything. But I am so unfortunate. So only when we come to that point would we adopt the attitude of the third verse, Srinadapi. Chant in. Then only when we, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, only when you chant in that humble state of mind, tolerant, devoid of all sense of false prestige, ready to offer all respect to others. In that state, the mercy will come. We have to come to the proper state, otherwise, as Dr. Vinod Thakur is saying, it won't work. It just won't work. So because the 6th chapter of the Bhagwat Gita, of course, that's what the devotees here, they reach 6th chapter, whoever may be just a few devotees doing. But to tell you the honest truth, it's very difficult for outside devotees to come, many times a week and keep up with that schedule. So really, what I intend to do, middle 6 chapters are the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, bhakti, devotion to Krishna. So before you get into the middle 6 chapters, the end of the first 6 chapters, that is the 6th chapter itself, has a great deal about general yoga practice, a lot to deal with the mind, the state, the efforts to make and things like that. So while I'd like to, kind of do a summary study of that middle 6 chapters, it is worth it for the devotees to make some effort to get a bit into the 6th chapter. So without much further, we'd like to, cover, if we could, the first 9 verses of this 6th chapter. Some of the devotees have some overview notes that we were studying last year. It's not much, it's just like a 1 page, just giving some little guideline about from this verse to that verse. It's just a short amount, but I'll just tell you briefly what it says here. In the first 5 chapters, Krishna explained Buddhi Yoga, working with consciousness fixed on him without fruitive desires. The Lord has also explained Sankhya, Karma, and Jnana Yoga's processes to obtain liberation and as a stepping stone to Krishna consciousness. Now 1 to 9, Yoga Rurukshu and Yoga Rudha practice. At the end of the 5th chapter,